Hey guys, and welcome to my first, well, technically my second ever Dungeon Defenders Spotlight, or Defender Spotlight as I should say. I'm just going to go around and collect some chests a minute for some mana before I start off with going through the towers, and I'll talk about a little, about what I meant by this is my second spotlight and what this video is about. So what I meant was ages ago, and I mean ages ago, when I was still doing YouTube videos on my laptop, I did my first Defender's Spotlight, which was the Huntress, and the quality was so bad, I just can't, I don't know what went through my head to make that into a video. But I did anyways. To be honest, all my videos around that time were pretty low quality. The second thing I was going to say was, what is this video about? On my channel, I'm going to be doing Defender Spotlights, which are going through all of the heroes or characters or defenders within Dungeon Defenders Eternity, which is Dungeon Defenders 1 with all of the DLC, and if they release any new characters, which they most likely won't, then any new characters. Anyways, my first video is going to be on the Summoner, and the Summoner is a very interesting defender. If I go into here, for those of you who don't know, this is what's known as the character wheel, and there are a lot of different options here compared to a normal hero. So normally you'd have your towers in the top, active inventory, which is the bottom right, your upgrade, your repair, your sell, and then your hero, which gives you your abilities, your pet abilities, and your heal. Sorry about that cut there, guys. Interrupted, and I've lost my train of thought. Right, I was on about the character wheel. The Summoner has more towers than any other character that I know of. I'm pretty sure no other character has 6 towers, and he also has this. The Summoner, if I just summon, I don't know, something now, so we'll summon an orc. Alright, so we'll summon an orc at each of these locations. The orc tower is the tank, he's the number 8 on my bar. I'll show you him inside the tower menu in a moment, and we'll go through all the different towers. But yeah, the orc is the tank tower, and he basically just sits there and takes all of the damage while archer minions behind him deal the majority of the damage. Right, what was I saying? Yeah, the Summoner relies on a very interesting mechanic, which I can only explain as an RTS. I'm actually just going to start this wave up here, and we'll go through all the towers, and then I'll have some extra mana to show you the rest of them as well. So, yeah, the Summoner has an ability which I can only describe to you as an RTS. If I go into the character wheel, obviously it's down in my hotbar as well, here. But we go, to the hero. He has 3 hero abilities. First one is Phase Shift. It just makes him invulnerable. He can walk around, he cannot collect mana, he cannot do actions, he can just walk around and not be harmed. Phase Shift Overlord turns the game into an RTS, and that's the one we'll use in a minute. And we also have Crystal Pulse, which heals all allies and defenses within an area around the Summoner. So if I just go into the Phase Shift Overlord, and what this allows me to do is I can sell, I can repair, and I can upgrade, but I can't upgrade from this menu. I can also give orders, so I want this guy to hold an offensive. So he's going to go around and he's going to target all of these guys, and then I can put him back and tell him again to hold his defensive. I could do the same for all other guys, so this guy over here is kind of hurting, so I'll tell him to hold his defensive, and he'll just go around and beat all those up. I can also summon minions from here, and place them and everything. Everything can be done from this top-down view, but as you've probably already noticed, this view also has problems with clipping in the map. The maps weren't originally made for Summoner. The Summoner was a hero which was added to the original Dungeon Defenders later on as DLC, and a lot of the maps have these kind of beams or whatever which block your view quite often. So you go to place a tower down, you go into this mode, and it's like, oh, so everything's blocking my way. Now, if I just go and collect some mana, and then I will finish this video quickly by showing you the rest of the towers if I can. I should be able to. I don't see why not. So you already know of the Orc Minion. The Orc Minion is a tank. If I go to here, you can see. So you start off with the Archer Minion. You unlock this one first. It's very versatile. Low mana cost, low defense unit cost, very high health, 3000 health compared to this has 9,000 health, this has 3,000 health, 2,000 health, 6,000 health. So, but they also have armor as well. The armor values aren't put on these tower stats, and they should be, because something like the warrior dies insanely quickly despite having double the health. The Archer Minion does not die anywhere near as quickly, because, as I said, there is an armor value somewhere within this. The Archer has more armor than the Warrior. The Warrior has the lowest armor of all of them. So, yeah, the Archer Minion does the most damage overall. Well, no, that's a lie. The Archer Minion does a lot of damage. It does currently with my stats, it does 3,900 damage. You compare that to the Orc, he only does 2,100 damage, about half the damage cost here. The Mage, which I'll show you in a minute, does 1,600 damage, but he's mainly for healing your towers, keeping them healed. The Spider only does 1,700 damage, but he slows down enemies. It shows there that webbed enemies move at 60% the movement speed, and attack speed is lowered as well. The Warrior does the most damage. He has 2,700 damage, blade damage, but he attacks twice at once. So in a normal MMO with a rogue, you have 2 blades usually, and you can do a kind of move usually which is a double stab. So you stab once, stab twice within a second. This is what he can do. So even though it says 2,700 damage, that's per hit. He attacks very fast, and he always attacks twice, usually. So he does about 5,000 damage, basically. That's the best way I can explain it. Then you've got the Ogre. I haven't played with the Ogre much. You get this one at level 25. This one is the last one you will ever unlock. And he is very powerful. He has the Ogre Bolt, which is the little fireball thing he chucks out at you, and that does 8,800 lightning damage. It also has an explosion, and the club has a very high range and also does 7,500 damage. He's probably the most high health and most damaging unit that the summoner has, and it makes the summoner extremely overpowered. And considering this costs 7 whereas this costs 6, you're not losing much, really. So I'll just show you the rest of the units now. So if I sell him and I put down a ogre, so that's the ogre unit. Looks like an ogre, only he's made of crystal. And then behind him we'll have a mage. And a mage will heal your towers. I suppose I should go into that, their kind of abilities. So the archer is plain and simple. Don't put an orc in front of him so he can tank damage. Does a lot of damage, kills things relatively quickly, has a cooldown which is annoying to say the least. Spider is he does damage, but he also slows down enemies. He's good in the early game, like Foundries and Forges is when you first see a ogre, and Foundries and Forges is basically you unlock this when you end Deeper Wells. So when you play Foundries and Forges, you have this to your disposal. Use it to deal with the ogre, because the ogre will move very slowly and attack very slowly if he's hit by a web. The orc is just a tank. He doesn't do much damage. He has very high health, and he has very high armor. He doesn't take a lot of damage, as you saw. But then when there were 3 archers shooting at him, he lost no health. The mage does some damage, but doesn't attack very often. He mainly heals quite often, like he'll heal a lot of health. If you upgrade him, he can overheal, which means that your unit will basically never lose any health, because he's healing them so much, so often. The warrior has very low armor, but does very high damage, and has medium health. It's not low health, but it's not high health, and the armor not being there really does affect it, because when he's hit, he gets hit for a lot of damage, and you need to be able to keep him alive. What I found is use an orc to kind of aggro most of the damage onto him, have a mage and have a warrior, and the warrior can deal with killing. It'll kill most things in one hit, but if he doesn't, then you have the orc to take the damage, and then you have the mage to heal him up if the warrior takes damage. And then, as I said, the ogre is just the most overpowered unit in the entire game. He has the most health, the most armor, the most damage. I don't think there really is anything to be said about the ogre. You may be asking, why can't you just put ogres down like whenever you want? You can, and on this, since unlocking him, that is basically what I have done. I've been going through, and where I've usually put orcs with archers behind, I have put ogres. Obviously the defense units kind of hinder you in that respect, but if you're playing solo, you can do most missions. Yeah, you can do most missions with just the ogres. So I will show you the ogres now and the mage in action, and well, we will also show you the warrior if we get enough mana before the end. We should do. We could get my pets to do it. I should also mention that the in Dungeon Defenders Eternity, you'll notice that. So if I put this down a minute. Right, there we are. So we're gonna go over here and just see him own people. Unfortunately, we won't see the mage healing because then the ogre isn't taking damage, which is it's a small shame. You can now see the warrior. Yeah, as I was trying to see, you can see he attacks twice. It may be hard to miss. He does attack very, very quickly. But yeah. So I want you to move here. So if I right click, I go straight to here. What? I'm on hard difficulty. Jeez. Okay. Ogres are overpowered. Yeah, as I was saying, I'm just going to wrap this video up here, guys. On the inventory screen, and we go to gear. On Dungeon Defenders Eternity, you'll find that all characters have 2 slots for pets. However, if you have ever tried using the 2 slots, you'll find that you can't. You can only use the 2 slots within the summoner. This is because the summoner cannot have a weapon. You'll notice my weapon slots are empty. The summoner cannot have a weapon, and so any stat on your armor, which is to do with armor or to do with a weapon or player damage, ignore it. I've gone purely for armor, which is for towers, so I've got tower health, damage, and effect on here, tower damage and reset rate on here, tower damage and attack, tower health and attack, tower health, tower damage and range and reset. Obviously you get other stats with most of these armors, but I've tried my best to make sure that I have the best tower stats possible. But yeah, the Summoner is the only class in the game to have 2 pets. You can also, with just like having 2 weapons in the normal game, you can switch between the abilities. So I have this, which pierces through enemies and does a certain amount of damage, and then I have this, which throws enemies up in the air, it stuns them for a bit, it does damage. It's pretty good. So anyway guys, I've been Phoenix Cypher, I've been your host. I hope you've enjoyed this Defenders Spotlight. If you would like more, go visit my channel at Cypher Games, subscribe, and I can't wait to see you there. There will be a playlist up shortly, and the next Defender I'm going to be doing is the Ranger, which is the male version of the Hunter. It's slightly different to the Huntress, so keep an eye out for that, and I'll see you guys next time. Adios.
Go.